There's a particular hour of the night when the world goes quiet and you find yourself wide awake, staring into the dark, struck by a realization that has been chasing you your whole life without you noticing. You haven't been searching with your hands. You haven't been searching with your feet. You've been searching with something far deeper, with the very core of your awareness. Reaching, always reaching, towards something just past the edge of what you can name. It feels like it belongs to you, like it was always meant to be yours, and yet it keeps dissolving the instant you try to hold it, the way water slips through open fingers. And then, in that stillness, a question rises, soft at first, then unmistakable. What if the thing you've spent your life reaching for has been reaching back the entire time? What if the win, the overflow, the love, the life you picture in your quietest moments is right now searching for you? And what if the only thing keeping it from finding you isn't luck, isn't timing, isn't circumstance, but simply the identity you're currently standing inside of? This is the truth underneath every real shift a person ever makes. Not a shift in what happens to them, though that follows naturally, but a shift in who they believe themselves to be at the root. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for permission, waiting for proof that they're allowed to have what they want, waiting for the perfect conditions, the right bank balance, someone else's blessing before they let themselves receive. They move through the world like petitioners standing in line, hoping life will eventually decide they've earned their own desires. But that's the whole thing turned inside out. That is not how consciousness actually operates. The world doesn't shape you, you shape the world. Your sense of self isn't a byproduct of your circumstances. Your circumstances are the byproduct of your sense of self. Take the word luck and sit with it for a second. Most people hear that word and picture randomness, chance, coincidence, something arriving by accident. But what if luck isn't random at all? What if luck is simply what we call it when someone's unconscious self-image quietly, invisibly shapes the outcomes around them? Someone who assumes they're fortunate doesn't know they're doing anything special, but they walk into rooms differently. They speak with a different rhythm. They catch openings that everyone else walks straight past. They happen to strike up a conversation with exactly the right person at exactly the right time. From the outside, it looks like fortune. From the inside, it's the natural unfolding of a particular belief about who they are. The universe you live inside is not indifferent to you. It isn't a neutral, uncaring backdrop. It is, at its foundation, responsive, constantly mirroring back whatever identity you've settled into. This isn't a nice metaphor. It isn't abstract philosophy. It's the literal mechanics of how reality behaves. You are living inside a system engineered to confirm what you believe about yourself, whether that belief serves you or not. Believe that good fortune avoids you, and life will quietly build the evidence. Believe that good things find their way to you, and life will build that evidence instead, with equal precision. The opportunities are already moving, the abundance is already circulating, looking for someone to land on. The real question was never whether these things exist out there somewhere. It's whether you're standing inside the belief that lets them reach you. Almost nobody stops to actually examine the beliefs they're living inside of. Most of it was handed down, absorbed from childhood, inherited from parents, soaked up from the people who surrounded us before we had any say in the matter. We picked it up from things that simply happened to us, and now we walk around inside these invisible frameworks the way a fish moves through water, never once wondering whether the water is even there. Somewhere along the way you were told money is a struggle. You were told good fortune belongs to other people. You were told you'd have to work twice as hard just to be allowed a fraction of what you want. You were told to be thankful for whatever crumbs came your way. And you believed it. Not because any of it was true, but because no one ever told you that belief itself is a choice, something you could take hold of on purpose. Here's the part almost everyone misses. You are always assuming something about yourself. Right now, in this very moment, you're living inside a particular feeling about who you are, a felt sense of what kind of luck, what kind of possibility belongs to someone like you. That feeling isn't passive, it's active, it's generative, it's quietly transmitting moment to moment what you're prepared to receive. And if the feeling you've been carrying is that good things eventually arrive, after enough waiting, after enough proving yourself worthy, then reality has simply been organizing itself around that exact expectation. So here's the real question. What happens the instant you decide to stop waiting and start assuming instead? The word assumption is so plain, so unremarkable, that we forget how much power it holds. We assume the sun comes up tomorrow. We assume gravity keeps doing its job. We assume the people around us have inner lives just like our own. And because these things are assumed rather than questioned, they become the floor beneath us, the invisible air we move through without a second thought. The universe, in its deepest nature, always honors an assumption. It isn't punishing you for your doubts, it's simply delivering with total accuracy whatever you've already decided is true. Reality arranges itself around your assumption the way iron filings arrange themselves around a magnet, and you are the magnet. Your self-concept is the pull. Everything in your life is just circumstance catching up to that pull. There's a certain kind of person who wins, not because they're sharper or luckier by birth, but because they move through their days already living as someone who wins. It isn't a thought they have to force, it's simply woven into how it feels to be them. When they take a chance on something, there's no desperation behind it, no straining, no sense of begging a reluctant universe for scraps. There's only a quiet certainty, a felt belonging to the world of people things come easily to. And that quiet, private certainty is powerful enough to reach forward in time and pull that future self straight into the present. This is the real secret. And it was never about forced positivity. It was never about reciting affirmations you don't actually believe, or smiling on the outside while something in you is breaking. It's about consciously stepping into a new identity, feeling in your body like the person you're becoming, not someday, not once conditions improve, but right now, in this exact moment, and then staying there, living from that place, speaking from it, letting your decisions come from it. This isn't self-deception. It isn't pretending reality away. It is, in fact, the deepest honesty you can offer the universe, telling it, through the way you carry yourself, exactly who you really are, and letting it rearrange itself to prove you right. So close your eyes for a moment, not to escape anything, not to bypass what's actually going on in your life, but to genuinely feel what it's like to be someone unexpected blessings find. Feel it in your posture, feel it in your breath. Notice the texture of the thoughts that person has, the quality of the attention they bring to an ordinary day. Notice that they are not tense. There's no gripping, no straining toward the future. Only an easy, settled knowing that what belongs to them is already on its way. They're not grasping, they're not trying to control everything. Instead, they're walking through the world with a kind of ease, a kind of knowing, a kind of permission that they have already given themselves. And in that state, they move through life in ways that make good things find them. This is something that science is only now beginning to understand, but the greatest minds throughout history have always known it. Your state of assumption determines your frequency. Your frequency determines the events that can resonate with you. You are literally tuning into different realities based on the assumption you're living in. When you assume you're lucky, you're tuning into the frequency of luck. Your eyes start seeing opportunities that were always there. Your intuition starts guiding you toward the right people and the right moments. Your decisions start naturally aligning with what you want. It's not magic, it's just how consciousness works. You're a tuning fork, and your assumptions are what determines which frequencies you vibrate at. And here's something that most people have completely backwards. They think that once their circumstances change, they'll feel different. Once they win, once they get the money, once they meet the right person, once they achieve the thing, then they'll feel lucky, then they'll feel worthy, then they'll feel alive. But it works the other way around. The feeling comes first, the assumption comes first, the inner state comes first, and then reality follows. The circumstances are not the cause, the circumstances are the effect. You've been looking at it backwards your entire life. You've been waiting for the effect to happen so that you can create the cause. But cause and effect are reversed from what you've been taught. Your assumption is the cause. Your assumption is the magnet. Your circumstances are simply what gets pulled into alignment with your magnet. Think about what happens when you really decide to become someone different. Not intellectually, but deeply when you authentically shift the assumption about who you are. What happens is that you start moving through the world differently without even trying. You start attracting different people, different conversation, different opportunities, and people around you start reacting to you differently because they're sensing a different energy. You're broadcasting something different. You're emitting a different frequency. And the universe, which is fundamentally responsive to frequency, starts bringing you things that match that frequency. This is not because you're somehow more deserving. It's because you've changed the assumption you're living in, and the universe is simply doing what it's always done, arranging reality to match your assumption about yourself. The lottery is already looking for you. Good things are already looking for you. The universe is not holding back. It's not waiting for you to prove yourself first. It's not testing you to see if you're worthy. The universe responds to what you assume. So right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. You can continue assuming that you're the kind of person that good things happen to eventually someday after a lot of struggle. Or you can shift that assumption. You can feel right now what it feels like to be the kind of person who receives unexpected blessings. Not arrogantly, not with attachment, but with a quiet certainty that this is simply who you are. The lottery is not separate from you. It's looking for someone like you. And when you assume that you are that someone, there's no force in the universe that can keep it from finding you. This is where most people fail, and I want to be honest with you about this. They hear these words and they think it's nice. They think it's inspirational. They might even feel a little flutter of hope in their chest. But then they go back to their old assumptions. They go back to the feeling of being someone who struggles. They go back to the deep unconscious belief that good things are for other people. And because they go back to that assumption, nothing changes. The universe keeps giving them what they've assumed they would get. And they believe that the teaching didn't work, when actually the teaching worked perfectly. They just went back to their old assumption before they gave the new one time to take root. So here's what I want you to understand. You cannot hold two assumptions at the same time. You cannot assume that you are the kind of person that luck finds, while also assuming that luck doesn't apply to you. One has to go. And the only way for the new assumption to take hold is for you to feed it. Feed it with your attention. Feed it with the feeling of who you want to be. Feed it with imagination. Spend time feeling like the person you want to become. Not just once, but again and again, until that feeling becomes so familiar that it becomes the new baseline of who you are. Until you wake up and it feels strange to be any other way. Imagination is not fantasy. Imagination is the way consciousness creates reality. When you close your eyes and really feel what it would be like to receive your desire, when you feel it in your whole being, you're not doing something frivolous. You're not wasting time. You're actually doing the work. You're training your nervous system. You're training your cells. You're training your consciousness to receive. You're showing the universe what frequencies you're vibrating at, and the universe takes you at your word. The universe respects your assumption about yourself. The universe arranges reality around that assumption. There's a kind of love that the universe has for those who believe in themselves, not a conditional love, not a love that says if you work hard enough and suffer long enough and prove yourself worthy, then you will receive, but an immediate love, an instant love. The love that says if you can assume that you are the kind of person who receives, then you are the kind of person who receives. If you can feel like it's already true, then it is already true. If you can be it before you see it, then you will see it. The universe does not work based on your actions. It works based on your assumptions. and your actions will naturally follow from your assumptions. This is the order of how reality works. Most people spend their whole lives trying to change their circumstances without ever changing their assumptions. They try harder, they work longer hours, they apply for more jobs, they send more applications, they search more desperately, and the universe, responding faithfully to their assumption that they have to struggle to survive, keeps giving them circumstances where struggle is necessary. The universe is not cruel. The universe is just doing what it always does. It's confirming your assumption about yourself. So the work is not to try harder. The work is to shift the assumption. The work is to feel like the person who doesn't have to struggle. The work is to experience what it feels like to receive without having to earn it. And then, from that new assumption, the universe will arrange reality to match. When you stop trying to make something happen and start assuming that it's already finding you, something shifts. Your whole being shifts, your energy shifts, your frequency shifts. And this is not something that other people have to agree with. This is not something you have to convince anyone of. This is something that only happens in the privacy of your own consciousness. When you're alone with yourself, when you're in that quiet space before sleep, when you're in the morning before the day begins, when you're just living your life, what are you assuming about who you are? That's the question. Because whatever you're assuming is what the universe is currently responding to. Notice the small things. Savor your tea, your walk, the sunlight on the floor. These moments are proof of abundance already present, quiet signals to your subconscious that life is already good, and from that recognition, more good has room to grow. There will be moments you glance back at who you used to be and barely recognize them. The version that worried constantly, checked for signs, felt perpetually behind. That person wasn't broken, they were simply identified with lack, wearing the wrong costume. Now you're dressed as someone who already has everything, and the world responds accordingly. Even your goals feel different, no longer desperate attempts to prove your worth, but expressions of joy, expansions of who you already are. You create not to fill emptiness, but to express fullness. And creation from fullness carries a different energy, magnetic, effortless, playful. You trust yourself more, decisions arrive faster, intuition speaks louder because fear no longer drowns it out. You're operating from receiving, not survival. You learn to say yes to help, to opportunity, to a compliment, where you once deflected feeling unworthy. That shift quietly opens doors resistance used to keep shut. Forgiveness arises on its own too. You stop clutching grudges and replaying failures because someone who already has everything doesn't drag yesterday into today. You release people, mistakes, old stories, and travel lighter. The more fully you inhabit this state, the more ordinary the miracles feel. Bills clear at the right moment, an idea turns into income, a stranger offers kindness. Not because you forced the world into compliance, but because you stopped arguing against your own good. None of this demands strain. There's no need to wrestle your mind into submission. You simply return, again and again, to the feeling of already being blessed, the way you'd return home after wandering somewhere unfamiliar. Every time you slide back into lack, you gently step back into fullness. No drama, no guilt, just a quiet correction. Over time, this becomes your default. Feeling supported becomes ordinary. Expecting things to work out becomes ordinary. And when something wonderful happens, you simply nod inwardly. Of course, this is just how my life works now. A quiet develops inside you too. Less mental noise, less arguing with what's in front of you. You stop complaining, not because you're holding it in, but because it feels unnecessary when you trust things are resolving in your favor. Your breathing changes, slower, deeper, as your body registers that it's safe, and a relaxed body signals security to the subconscious, the emotional signature of someone who already has everything. You start treating imagination with more respect too, no longer rehearsing disaster, but deliberately picturing the outcomes you want. Smooth conversations, easy relationships, until they feel less like fantasy and more like memory. Once something feels like memory, the mind stops fighting it and simply accepts it as natural. This is when things move faster, because you're no longer trying to convince yourself of anything. You simply know. And what arrives first isn't stuff, it's stability, emotional steadiness, mental clarity, a grounded sense of self circumstances can't easily rattle. Everything else grows from that, the way branches grow from a healthy tree. People around you may notice the shift before you consciously do. You seem calmer, harder to rattle. Nothing external moved first. You simply stopped defending your limitations and decided to live as though everything was already handled. You also stopped comparing timelines with anyone else, trusting your own path completely. When someone else succeeds, you feel real happiness for them because their win doesn't threaten yours. Abundance has no competition. Even setbacks change meaning. What once felt like failure now reads as feedback, a redirection, nothing personal, and you keep moving, still anchored in the assumption that things ultimately work in your favor. Sometimes, in the quietest moments, you catch yourself grateful for no particular reason at all, just a steady appreciation for being alive. That's the purest sign you're living from fullness. Nothing missing, nothing needing to be added, already complete. So you keep choosing, day after day, to stand inside the identity of someone who already has everything, thinking from it, speaking from it, moving from it, until the line between inner and outer dissolves. Understand, this was never a technique for forcing the world to comply. It's a shift in identity, a return to who you actually are. You were never meant to chase your life, you were meant to embody it. The moment you stop saying someday and start saying it's already mine, the game shifts. Walk as though nothing is missing. Speak as though your words carry weight. Rest as though you're already supported. Because you don't get what you want, you get what you assume you already are.